you're utilizing fashion to help color in their character, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a huge component of this work is like understanding human psychology and the way people tick and what makes everyone different from one another. So I think for me, the reason that I've been able to have a lot of success is because I've separated myself in a way that allows people to align with who they are versus coming to somebody and have something given to them. The way that I always try to work is, how do we start by getting super clear on what's authentic to you and what's really true to you? Like, who do you see yourself as? And then where's the disconnect between where you are currently and where you desire to be, and how do we get you there?
Our guest today is the founder of MiKADO, the premier personal styling service. She's an image strategy expert who helps transform how clients show up and present themselves. Her concierge service works with top entrepreneurs, executives, and companies, everything from Morgan Stanley to Starbucks. Welcome back to the show, my friend, Jordan Stolch.
Mike, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be back here with you.
Yeah, and it's crazy. It's been 2 years since you were on the first time. I don't know how that happened.
So quickly. It's like,
here's the cool thing. Why don't we bring our audience up to speed, right? So you were on a couple years ago, and I'm actually going to link in the show notes. So if you're listening to this episode on Apple or Spotify, first of all, thank you for being with us. If you're tuning in on YouTube, in the description, I'm going to have our first interview, because that goes a little bit more into Jordan's backstory, right? We kind of talked about how you started this whole concept. And so if somebody wants to have like the origin or genesis story of MiKADO, go check that episode out. Hey guys, don't judge me. I was a little green. It was early. I didn't have my full setup yet. But we were a little bit more green. But that's the cool thing. Like, you get to see our 2 years of growth. And one thing I wanted to celebrate with you is cheers from coast to coast here. I'm all the way in sunny Buffalo, New York, and Jordan is in California, right in LA. So cheers from coast to coast. And I just wanted to say, it's important to celebrate wins. And I know from afar, I've been seeing your wins, the new programs you have launching all the time, what you're doing for your clients. You do a great job of not just posting content, but posting meaningful content. And so I wanted to give you that little bit of love, because I see it, I appreciate it. And I know that takes a lot of time, effort, and energy. You're kicking butt. And I want people to know, go to MiKADOpersonalstyling.com to see what Jordan's doing over there. And all of her social media is linked in the show notes. So
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. And now your ego is just like out of control, right? I gotta bring you back down. I gotta knock you down a level.
I'm uncomfortable in these conversations.
I know. All right. So now it's just me talking to you as a friend, and I'm legit interested in what you got going on here. There's a new program you launched. It's late January 2024 as we record this, and just like a week ago, you launched a new program called The Edit, right? So I want you to tell me what The Edit's all about.
Yeah, amazing. Well, even in the time between when I spoke with you last and today, in those 2 years, my focus really shifted into more program-based, group-based, educational-based, which I was starting when we spoke back then and when we were connected a little bit more. But now it's almost the primary focus of everything that I'm doing. And so I've been able to evolve over those couple of years, adding in different programs. And then, as you said, just this month, we're introducing a new program for the women in my community who have maybe gone through some of the other ones and who needed something in addition to what we were learning before. That's really what we're focusing on in this first quarter. And it's called The Edit. It's really designed to help women do a lot of the work that I do one-to-one for my clients. So whether it's shopping, using the clothing they already have in their closet, understanding how to maximize what they have, and then editing that. That's the whole premise of this program, really designed to get them to do what I do for my clients, but do it for themselves.
It's funny. I think a lot of people look back at old photos and they're like, I wish I could undo that.
Right.
Where did I come up with that outfit? Yeah. But no. So that's cool. You're in there, you're editing, you're constantly helping them upgrade their look. And along with that comes their confidence, comes kind of if they're a CEO or leader of a company, or even just a leader, you got to be the leader of your your household, right? So just having that confidence, you step out into the world and back home again, you just look good, you feel good. And so I know you're helping out a lot of different people, but mainly too with like your virtual personal styling. I know that you're helping busy moms, professionals, self-development seekers. So I'd love you to share what you like originally made you realize that you needed that, like there was a need for this type of service. And then were there like different pain points that you kept hearing or seeing over and over that you're like, aha, this is kind of the avenue I need to help them out with?
Yeah, well, we talked about it more in the previous conversation that you and I had, but the pivot into virtual really came as a product of COVID and just not no longer being able to service my client base in person. So it was something that I was naturally pushed into, but it was the in hindsight, it was just the best blessing possible for my business to have to be pushed that way. In the beginning, it didn't feel like it would be permanent, that I would permanently be serving people virtually, that eventually I would go back to in person. Um, but the way that everything has shifted online in the last couple of years, like people being so comfortable receiving service virtually, whether it's from a personal stylist or just things that we never would have received service for this way before, whether it's
Right.
therapy or coaching or all these kind of things that we used to feel we had to do in person has been able to shift. And so in the last 2 years, I've been able to stay the path with that, providing virtual services. But in addition to that, really noticing that, yes, there are certain types of men and women who want to work exclusively one on one with a personal stylist, typically in that customer base that you talked about in the introduction, like whether it's high level executive, um, entrepreneur, someone like that who may, the price point is in a different realm, the service level is in a different realm. And so really having the focus be there, but then also having a divergent path for mostly women who maybe that doesn't feel accessible to them. That need may be too high for them. They may not need a service level at that, something that deep. So being able to also offer a second path of group programs, teaching in a community-based environment, being able to offer both of those two. I don't know if that answers the question entirely, but being able to offer both of those two completely different people and then serve them both equally.
Yeah, I think that's awesome because obviously there's a need for or a desire for someone to work with you one on one. They have some personal things they want to work through. You're giving them one on one attention. It's obviously going to cost more whenever you hire somebody, a consultant, a business expert, one on one. You're gonna get the white glove treatment on that. And then what's cool is you're opening it up to more of a group, as you just said. And what's nice about the group is you and I actually were in a mastermind group together, so we know this the power of multiple people coming together to share
Absolutely.
experiences and
Yeah.
stories. And I think the women you're working with probably feel a little bit more comfortable knowing, hey, there's other women kind of going through some of the same things that I'm working through. And it's like you get to bounce ideas off each other. And fashion is fun. And so, like, what's working for you? What are you doing? Different seasons. Literally, this season's like, it's fall season. What are some of the cool things that we're looking at now? And then you're obviously kind of the tour guide, helping people navigate it all. But it's great to get that feedback. Would you agree? Like with the whole group kind
Yeah,
of
I
giving
really
their
would. And
pulse on it too?
I think earlier in my business, when I was trying to learn how to pivot into a virtual space, I had this assumption. I think we often maybe carry these assumptions that aren't necessarily accurate, but we assume how people want to buy might be similar to how we want to buy. And so in the beginning, I had this assumption really coming from the business I had previously, assuming that people would only want to work with me in a one on one capacity. And so, kind of related to that is like, this is the be all and end all. And then there's this other option. If that's not accessible to you, there's this. Not recognizing that for a lot of people, maybe the one to one in any kind of capacity, whether it's with a personal stylist, a business coach, like sometimes it could feel too much. Like I might not need that much from somebody. I might be intimidated by that. I might actually prefer something that's in a group setting that the ask isn't quite as much from me, not just financially, but the time ask, the commitment ask. So being able to have these different paths in my business where somebody could come, they could decide like, am I looking for something that's done at a really deep level where somebody is doing it for me? In which case that would be private consulting. Or am I looking for something where I learn how to do it myself and maybe I get to jump in here and there I get to be around other women, exactly as you're saying. I get to have conversations that I wouldn't have elsewhere, that maybe we couldn't have in a private setting because the other people wouldn't be there. And then I get to take that on and then go about my life afterwards.
Yeah, I think it's important to have the diversity of both options. And then I'm sure there's some people who want both. Like they want to have a group environment, but also want to work with you one on one. And I think there's benefits in both.
Of
So
course.
it's not
Of
like
course.
and someone may say like, no, I just really want to work with you. I mean, I don't have time for the group, or they don't have the interest. So you're really just basically doing what any good business does: is listen to the people you're working with, and you're customizing it to their needs. And you've done a fantastic job with that.
Oh, thank you, Mike.
And you and I are very similar because we're totally different businesses. I'm, the founder of Social Chameleon, and most people know this that tune into the show now. We're a podcast agency where we help everybody build and guide their podcast from launch until they're really off the ground with their show. And what you're doing, and the reason I bring that up is we originally were in person doing things with clients, like face to face. And then even before COVID hit, I got a little bit lucky. I'm not going to lie. I decided to go virtual because I had clients already that were out of town. Like I mentioned, I'm up in Buffalo, and I was getting clients in Florida, and I had a few in Canada and all over the place in the early days. And I was like, I really enjoy working with people, and I don't mind doing it virtually. And then I realized like there's no drive time. There's no sitting around sipping coffee. So 20 minutes before the meeting starts, we're kind of just BSing anyways, which is fun. You could do that though on Zoom, and it could be 30 seconds, and there's no drive time. And I can meet with 8 people a day or more instead of 3 people a day. So my productivity, and I think there's no surprise,
It's
I actually grew the company through COVID, and I know you did too, because we both went to virtual, and then we just said, it stinks what's going on in the world, but we're not going to sit here and sulk about it. We're going to try to figure out how to grow. And so even though we're in 2 different mediums, we both were able to grow through the pandemic by going virtual. I think it's smart what you're doing. Do you also offer a little bit of, if someone is in LA and they want to work with you, is that available still, or only like
It's not.
virtual right now?
I had to get, it was still coming in, especially after COVID restrictions started lifting. People started asking for it again. And I think something that's really important for me personally and in my business is to sit with myself and look at what I'm working towards. And then anything that doesn't fit into it, I have to say no to it. So in my business, that looks like anything that comes in that doesn't align with me, either growing my programs or growing my virtual private consulting, is just taking my time away from the end goal. So I just got so clear on saying no to it. And now the ask isn't even there.
If you guys are listening, you're not feeling, you might feel my energy, but you're not seeing the big smile on my face as Jordan says that, because why I'm smiling right now is that's a huge moment on the show right there. People and entrepreneurs and anything you do in life, you need to realize what's best for you. And also, you're already doing a great job for a variety. We just talked about it. You got, the one-on-one, and you also have the group coaching, but you realize that you had to get laser focused and lead and move forward in that direction 1,000%. And if you try to go back and be like, yeah, well, once in a while I'll do, all of a sudden now you're muddying the water, and you're not actually growing your business. So super important for entrepreneurs to not overlook what you just said right there, because they might have obviously a totally different business, but whatever it is for them, there's going to be a moment where they're going to have to decide if they're trying to fit, the old adage is the square peg in a round hole or whatever, but you have to really know what it is that you're doing and specialize in it. And I think it's really cool that you did.
And I think sometimes it could be so easy to default back to that. We could almost be tested to see how committed we are, especially in a moment, maybe if our numbers were a little bit lower that month and somebody comes in and asks for something and it just feels like, let me just go. It's a quick win. But time is so valuable. So if we take it off of
I've made that mistake, Jordan. I've done that. I've been like, oh, we need that extra one, so I'll do it.
Yeah.
And that's in the early days, and you learn from those mistakes. So it's really smart that you were able to reflect on that. And so it's great to always hear a success story, especially when you're making the right decisions, good things are coming from it. It's not a surprise. It's like you do the program, you follow the steps, we learn and grow. We're going to make a ton of mistakes. Entrepreneurs, adversity is inevitable. We're going to deal with it. And you've done it and you've learned from your lessons. So I
Yeah.
think that's really awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hey guys, over the last few episodes, you've heard me talk about Magic Mind. Well, guess what? I'm not going to stop talking about it because I absolutely love this stuff. If you're watching on YouTube, you're seeing I'm holding it up right here. It's a productivity elixir. And what I love about it is it helps you crush your procrastination. It puts you in this flow state. So everything kind of starts to slow down. You don't get the jitters when you're actually getting energy. You can get more done. As an entrepreneur, you got so much stuff going on or whatever you're doing in business and life, running around with the family and the kids. First thing I do in the morning is I crush one of these bad boys right here. I love it. It does have matcha green tea in it. So personally, I already like matcha green tea. It's something I drink in addition to the Magic Mind shots every day. It also has nootropics for focus. Matcha gives you energy, adaptogens for less stress, and vitamins for immunity. I absolutely love this stuff. With Magic Mind, you can do more and stress less. And here's the thing, I love it so much, I want to pass along my savings to you, so you can use my discount code. MiKADO20 will save you 20% off on your order. You can get the link if you're on YouTube, go to the description. If you're listening to this on the audio players like Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, check out the show notes. It's clickable right there. Use code MiKADO20 and you'll save 20% off. Again, Magic Mind, do more, stress less. And let's get back to the show. All right, cool. So can you walk us through what the virtual styling experience is for a client? So kind of now someone says, yes, Jordan, I want you to work with me. Like I definitely need, there's different reasons that they might be reaching out to you, but now you're ready to help them. So what does that actually look like?
Yeah. Again, even in my private consulting, I have a few divergent paths in there, and it took some time to really narrow in on who are the people that are coming to me and what specifically do they need, and how do I curate paths or packages around what they need so that the end result is really clear and tangible. So for example, some people will come to me and they're really looking for help with their image development. This is probably the primary reason somebody would come. So whether that's an entrepreneur, it's somebody like yourself, or it's somebody who works in business, they're really understanding that the way they present themselves, especially if they're online a lot or they're speaking a lot, the way they present themselves is really critical, maybe to their personal brand, but even to their confidence as well. And so that's one like big segment of my private consulting. We just work on that, getting clear on what it is to them. How do we develop it? How do we actually bring it into real life? How do we get them to start presenting themselves that way? And then another big one for me is shopping. So I have a lot of people that come to me that the image part is important, but even more than that, it's I do not want to do it. I'm looking for somebody to do it for me. I'm tired of wasting money. I've been buying a lot of stuff. It's not working. I don't understand how to use what I own. I don't understand how to identify where the gaps are in what I own and what I should be focusing on. I'm spending so much money buying clothes, trying to look a certain way. It's not working out. Handle it for me. Those are I have other packages that I offer, but those are the two main areas that when somebody's coming in for private consulting, something that's going to fall in there, focus on both of those.
Is that what's this? I saw on your site, this style strategy session. Is that what we're talking about right there?
Style strategy session on my website would just be like a 1 hour session that we would begin talking through some of it. But then I have an image development package and a wardrobe transformation package. And those are the two that I'm really talking about. Image development, we're just working on image. Wardrobe transformation, transforming the closet.
Got you. So that's really good. And I appreciate you clearing that up for me because I just wanted to make sure people understand what they can get with the different packages. And there's a few others we'll talk about too in a second. Like we'll get to the wardrobe transformation package. But what I love to hit on, and I think that there is a little bit of a misconception about personal styling and maybe people not totally understanding like that moment, that aha moment, like, wow, like working with Jordan virtually now can benefit me. So what do you think some of the misconceptions are about like what you do, or maybe even just fashion in general?
Yeah, I mean, I don't even necessarily know that it's misconception or if there's actually some problems might not be the right word, but there's some challenges in the fashion and style industry. So I think for me, the reason that I've been able to have a lot of success is because I've separated myself in a way that allows people to align with who they are versus coming to somebody and have something given to them. So I never meet with somebody and give them something and tell them, this is like, Mike, we're painting you into this new guy. And it's not who you feel you are. It may feel like a costume, or it may feel like we're trying to turn you into somebody else. And this is what we're going to try to create for you and hope that this sticks in the long run. I think this is what happens a lot in the world of personal styling. And this is why it doesn't, number one, always stick. And number two, it turns some people off. The way that I always try to work is, how do we start by getting super clear on what's authentic to you and what's really true to you? Like, who do you see yourself as? And then where's the disconnect between where you are currently and where you desire to be? And how do we get you there? And I think that approach to style feels very authentic to people. It doesn't feel like somebody's just dressing me in these nice clothes, but I kind of feel like an imposter. Um, it doesn't stick. It's hard for me to align with this. So coming at it that way for me has provided me with so much success in my business. And I think that's the part that people have a challenge with in the fashion and style industry.
I think that's awesome, because then what you just said, and it's super important, is you're focusing on their unique personality.
Exactly.
You're not trying to change who somebody is. I mean, there may be a thing where have a roadblock where you're trying to break a barrier. Maybe they're going to do something that's a little more fun or a little bit more risky, or a different style that you're encouraging them to try. But at the same time, you're making sure that people are comfortable, like, being themselves, and that they don't, like, you could walk into a store and there's a ton of the new styles, like for winter catalog XYZ, and the person might just not be feeling anything that's there because their personality is not what's shown on the mannequins, right? So you're going to be like, hey, this is what really works for you, Mike, or your client, like, individually. And that's where your magic comes in, because when you're working with someone, you could feel their energy, you can understand who they are, and you start to get to know what their kind of character is. And then you're basically using, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you're utilizing fashion to help color in their character, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think a huge component of this work is like understanding human psychology and the way people tick and what makes everyone different from one another. So being able to have the ability to tune into that in a conversation with somebody, and really understand, like, if a woman describes how she wants to look to me, being able to separate that from her to the next woman, to the next woman, how that could look completely different from me, how none of my clients would necessarily need to dress anything similar to the way that I dress, even though we're both women, because it's so true to who that person is. And that could align with what's in stores right now, as you're saying. That oftentimes doesn't.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Like I said earlier, and I'm not just blowing smoke as a friend and supporting a friend here, like, you legitimately are doing an awesome job. Everything we talked about on the show, you're doing it, but, like, taking it to the next level with your social media. And then I can only imagine that someone who works with you individually or in the group setting is getting so much value from
Thank
you.
you,
It's
Mike.
overflowing.
Yeah.
You're welcome. And I just want to hear it from you, like, kind of off the cuff. Like, I know you love this. I can tell, like, when someone's doing what they're meant to do on this planet, there's a magic behind it. And I feel that with you. And so just share, like, what do you love most about not only being an entrepreneur, but actually doing what you do with style?
Yeah. I will tell you that, especially in the last 2 years since we had our previous conversation, and the ability for me to go way deeper, mostly with women. I'm not trying to push the men away out in this conversation, but to be able to go so deep with women and have conversations around maybe not feeling like I'm allowed to look a certain way or be a certain way, or I've been holding all of these restrictions on myself around what's possible for me, potentially because of my age or my body, my size, difficult things that I've been through in life, menopause, all these kind of things. Being able to have conversations with women where that could just, like, be lifted right off of them, and they could feel this possibility for themselves. Like, I don't even care what the clothes look like, but this possibility for themselves of, I can actually have what I desire for myself, see myself in the way that I want to see myself. And all of these things, all these stories that I've been holding on to, there's like I couldn't release them. I don't need to continue holding on to all these things. I mean, it's that part for me that's everything. The clothes, it's amazing. Of course, I love that part, but nothing compares to the other part. Like to be able to
Seeing
get
someone's
somebody,
actual transformation,
yeah,
like not just a transformation of their closet, but a transformation of their personality shining through, kind of a breakthrough moment. I mean, that sounds like it's really rewarding for you, like just to see that.
I think we all maybe I resonate to it because we all, I think, in some level, have experienced chapters of life that felt like that. That maybe we didn't feel we could be seen in a certain way, or something we wanted felt like we couldn't have it, and we were holding on to these stories around it. I know for me personally, I've carried many stories like that in entrepreneurship. So to be able to relate to other people who carry it around their body or around what's possible for them because of how they look or because of how old they are or because they're a mother or they're a father or they're whatever it is. I mean, to be able to just come in and help them. I always say, like, I'm just an activator. I just activate in somebody else what's already there within them. And so to be able to remind them, like, this is possible for you. You just need to let go of the part that says that it's not, and then everything else floods in from there.
Yeah. Really good. I mean, that's what a good coach does. They know who they're working with and they get the best out of that person. You're not trying to change the person. You're not trying to force them to be something that they're not, but you're trying to unlock their, we talk a lot about this on the show, unlock someone's greatness. But I think to get there, there's a confidence that comes. And I'll tell you what, like when I get a new outfit and I'm really feeling good in it, I like the way it looks or whatever. Like when I wear it, I do feel a little bit better. I go out, I'm going to hang out with my friends or whatever. You just have that little extra, a little pep in your step, right? So I don't think you should be defined by your clothes. And I know we talked about that, I think, on the first episode of like, some people are like addicted to that feeling, but they're not really, they're almost hiding something internally, like an imposter syndrome effect. We're not talking about that. Hey, you just talked about transformation being so rewarding for you.
Yeah.
So that actually leads me into the full wardrobe transformation package. Podcasting is a great way to engage with your audience and stay consistently relevant. The only problem is you don't have the time or desire to produce your own show. You simply want it done for you, and that's where Social Chameleon comes in. All you need to do is press record and upload the files. We'll handle the rest. From planning, production, post-production, distribution, and digital marketing, we have you covered. We realize that times are tough and funds are tight, and Social Chameleon believes in building supportive business relationships. By clicking on the link in this promo, we'll provide you 7 free podcasting tips to get started, as well as a free 30-minute online consultation. This is the perfect opportunity for entrepreneurs, keynote speakers, industry experts, influencers, and anybody who has a personal brand. With Social Chameleon, we help you build a brand that is out of this world. We're ready and waiting, so what are you waiting for? Click on the link to get started today. Hey guys, it's Mike. I'd like to give a proper shout out to Navigator Bookkeeping. Look, for a long time, I ran my business without really understanding the full financial picture. I used my gut and my bank account balance to make decisions, which led to some poor choices and constant stress over my business's finances. I knew something needed to change. At the beginning of 2021, I made a decision that helped pave a more clear path for my business. I started working with Navigator Bookkeeping. Since then, my bookkeeping has been handled for me. I now understand the full financial story of my business, making important financial decisions much easier now, and it helps me plan for where my business is going. I highly recommend giving Navigator Bookkeeping an opportunity to help your business. Check them out at navigatingyourbooks.com. Again, that's navigatingyourbooks.com. It's time to know the full financial story of your business. All right, we're back in action with Jordan. And remember, you can connect with her on her website, her social media. Everything is clickable in the show notes, so you don't have to worry about spelling her name or doing any of that. Just go click, check it out, hang out. You're most active on Instagram, would you say?
I am, yeah. I love Instagram. Feels the most natural for me.
Me too. I think that's why we connect on that the most too. So yeah, I just teased it before the break. Wardrobe transformation package. Give us a scoop.
Yeah. This is my most comprehensive package. It's 100% done for a client. So in some of my other packages, because it doesn't include everything, some work needs to be done by the client. For example, in other packages, they have to do their own shopping. I'm not doing it for them. In my wardrobe transformation package, because it's priced at the highest and they get the most access to me, we work together for the longest, everything's done for them. So we are cultivating their image and then shopping anything they could possibly need in order to bring it to life. We use kind of some of the clothes that they already have, and then we fill in all the gaps with things that we're buying, bringing it in, trying it on,
Full VIP right
full
there.
everything. Yeah, full
Yeah,
everything.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. And that's right there on the website. So anybody who's interested in that. And this is cool now because I always felt like, it's kind of a bummer in the past where you have this really cool service, but, I do have friends and family and connections in LA, so I could pass them on to you to say, hey, go check out Jordan, or here's her website. If you're interested, I can connect you with her one-on-one. But now, literally, anybody who's tuning in right now, if you want a connection to Jordan to work with her, like let us know in the comments. But if you send me a DM, we can make that connection happen. So, because obviously going virtual,
Yeah, clients are everywhere. I don't have
you have clients all over the world, right?
Yeah, there's no clients actually currently in LA. I don't even think there's any current clients in California. It's so strange when I compare it to what it used to be.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, that's the best way you can grow and help people. Like, you're not limited, although LA is a gigantic city, but you're not limited to that sphere. You can work so much outside of it. I know I only have you for a couple minutes, and I appreciate you giving me the time that you were able to give me today. We talked about some of your success, and obviously, as you know, with entrepreneurship, there's success, but there's also some of the lowest of the low moments and how we navigate through it. And the reason I'm doing this show is to showcase exciting entrepreneurs, people doing different things that are successful, because we can learn from people who've actually done it, opposed to just talk about doing it. Like, you've actually done it. So that's why I wanted you on the show. But on the flip, what are some of the challenges that you've had over the last couple of years?
The challenges, we could speak way longer about challenges.
I know. I gave you 5 minutes to talk about challenges. So you're off the hook.
I could do.
You don't have to
do challenges.
But what's something that comes to mind right now that you're just like, I know you were doing, the challenges of the courses. Remember that in the beginning?
I think it's been that. I think, in the beginning, when I first met you, it was figuring out how to pivot into an online space, because I had no background at all. I didn't know anything about people operating a business in the online space. From there, learning and understanding that was one thing, but then actually growing it, I think that was the next part that was very challenging, like growing a community of women. You need a stream of people coming in order to be able to run programs. So that, faced with or coupled with my own stuff, like kind of how we were talking about before, my own stuff around showing up online, being an introverted person, putting yourself out there consistently, feeling this pressure of looking at everyone else in the entrepreneurial space, like being so on top of content and putting it out there and sharing so much of their life that maybe I didn't feel comfortable sharing, and balancing all of that in order to grow it. But then ultimately getting to a place where I decided, like, this just gets to be on my own terms and doesn't need to be the way that it looks for other people. All of that has felt challenging. The growth of it, it feels still right now, it feels that way. So I think it's ongoing. The success feels like a blimp. The rest, the journey, feels like this huge majority of
80-20. It's 80-20, but the 20 is to get to the 20, you have to grind out the 80.
You have to play a long game. I think, for me anyways, like, it's a long game. It's not anything that
it's a game of endurance. It's not a game of short wins,
it is
right?
Patience, endurance. It's knowing that and trusting that it's coming, even when right in front of you can't see it in that moment.
So good. And important for people who are tuning in right now, thinking about launching a business, or they're really looking to escape. Maybe they're in a W-2 position. That's where I came from. And I did well in W-2 land. And I was a manager of a Fortune 500 company, and I worked with Fortune 100 companies. And I could have been a sales rep the rest of my life and probably been pretty happy and pretty successful, but I wasn't totally fulfilled. So seeing someone like yourself being on the show, why you're here is, I just love what you're doing. You are fulfilled in what you're doing. So I'm encouraging people to go find that. And guys, look at Jordan. she's more of an introverted personality. She's been a lot of fun on the show. She's a great friend of mine. And like, I don't necessarily see you as the introvert as much because I know you've been working on that, but I know you're an introvert. Like, like after we hang up, you got another call and everything. But I know, like, even I at times I just like to kind of work solo and just do my thing. But I also love being around people. But the reason I highlight it is because if someone's feeling introverted, maybe they're like, I don't know if entrepreneurship is for me, or man, I got to do reels on Instagram all day long. Like, I'm so nervous. I don't think I can do it. Well,
you can.
You were there just a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And so the message is you can. And I just want that to inspire the entrepreneurs tuning in who are maybe a little bit more reserved. That's okay. That's you. I'm just,
and I think the message is also like, there's no one way. I think we're just shown this predominant way in entrepreneurship, especially on Instagram. My whole algorithm is like shown this one way. But when you decide like, I can be successful in my own way, it doesn't have to look like that. I can do it my own way. And you commit to that, you will find a way to make it work.
Boom, mic drop moment right there. You will find a way. You can do it. Eliminate the word can't from your vocabulary, and it's amazing what will happen. Jordan, hey, this 2.0 conversation was awesome. I'm going to have you on again at some point. You just keep building and growing. I'll have you on as many times as you'd like to join us. And what I think would be cool for next time, and it doesn't have to be 2 years from now, it would be cool if we did something like and I'm teasing this for the audience and see what you think of it. Maybe I show you like we'll just Google image search different fashion styles, and you can say yay or nay, what you like, what you don't like. I think that would be pretty cool to like see you actually in your element. So I'll have you on again, and it'll be more of a workshop next time.
I love it. So down.
All right, cool. Challenge accepted?
Challenge accepted. Thank you so much.
All right. Hey, I thank you. I end every episode with this: be great and be grateful. And I'm super grateful for you.
I'm
Thanks,
so grateful to you. Thank you so much, Mike.
Keep